however, subject to availability of public land, because sometimes we settle them on public land, and availability of funds. Because sometimes, of course, we buy land for settlement. The ministry has so far, since independence, settled 301,872 families in 463 settlement schemes. You may not have asked this information, Senator Murango, but indulge me to give the Senate that information through your question. And therefore, we are talking of a total of 1.288,244 hectares of land that the government has given out for settlement, meaning a total of 320.25 acres of land across the country. And this is a big achievement by the government, and this has occurred in 26 counties within the country. In the last 3 years, the ministry has settled 16,376 families in a total of approximately 21,000 hectares of land across 10 counties. Currently, the ministry has no settlement programs in Kirinyaga Central, because I think one question was in relation to Kirinyaga Central constituency of Kirinyaga County. However, colonial settlement villages are a phenomenon inherited at independence. In Kirinyaga County, there are 46 colonial villages with an estimated 5,231 households as shown in Table 1. And that is I've given the list of and the names of these villages. Some basic work, initial work has taken place in terms of planning, but we have not completed the planning. And what we are saying is that data indicated in Table 1 above was captured by the ministry and forwarded to the county government of Kirinyaga for coordination of activities together with the ministry, because we need friendly collaboration with the county government. Honorable Speaker, the ministry intends, with availability of funds, to collaborate with the county government of Kirinyaga and NLC to carry out planning, surveying work, identification of beneficiaries, although we have the primary data of who identify and place beacons, and that is work in progress, would require capital or funds, and therefore I want to assure the Senator that that is what I have in my records. NLC will also be part of our partners. Thank you.
Honorable Senator, you may ask your 2 supplementary questions.
Asante sana Mstahiki Speaker. Asante sana waziri kwa kujibu maswali ambayo nilikuwa nimeulizia, na niko na maswali mawili. La kwanza ningeuliza kwamba unajua vizuri kwamba katika Kirinyaga upande wa Mwea watu wameishi huko bila hati miliki kwa miaka na mikaka. Nyanyangu nilimzika akiwa na miaka 115 na bado hakuwa na hati miliki kwa sababu ya sheria gandamizi ambayo ina mambo ya kunyunyizia mashamba maji. Kwa hivyo swali langu la kwanza ni juhudi zipi ziko kuhakikisha kwamba wakazi wa sehemu za Mwea, ile inaitwa Mwea Irrigation Scheme, na pamoja na shamba la Southern Kariama kwamba wamepata hati miliki na ni lini? Swali langu la mwisho kwamba katika takwimu ambazo umeleta siku ya leo kuna vijiji 5260 ambazo zilikuwa ni vijiji za ukoloni. Waswahili husema mgala muwe na haki yake umpe. Toka zile vijiji za ukoloni mpaka leo wale watu wana hati miliki, na unasema kwamba ushapeana takwimu kwa serikali la gatuzi la Kirinyaga waweze kuanzisha mpango rasmi wa kupeana hati miliki. Mimi mwenyewe niko na kijiji ambao mimi niliachiwa na babu yangu ambao haina hati miliki. Huenda nikafa kama sina hati miliki kwa miaka hiyo yote. Ningetaka nijue hizi hati miliki zitapeanwa lini? Asante sana Mstahiki Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond.
Maybe, Honorable Speaker, allow me to just repeat myself. I did not say that we are giving Kirinyaga County to do the survey work alone. Ordinarily, because they have a survey office, all counties are part of our settlement programs as stakeholders. So I said that if I'm able to put funds together, and this not just these colonial villages, my department is under instructions to start planning. When you enter into a department, I entered into this ministry last year. We proposed funding for this pending work. We didn't get funding. And I have more villages than this, including Nyeri, including Laikipia, and Nyandarua, and other places outside the Mount Kenya region. So what I'm saying is that Parliament should also be responsive in terms of supporting some of these programs. The National Assembly has poorly funded the Ministry of Lands, notwithstanding that we collect stamp duty to a tune of about 15 billion shillings. And I think I would want Senator Murango to be my partner in this regard. And then this is work that I can finish with the necessary funding. This is work I can finish within 2 years. But I said basic planning is there. People know their sections. What is remaining is finalization by way of survey, and not even planning is not an issue because basic planning has been done. It's just to fine tune it, but now survey and recording so that we can do the titling. I've taken it personally myself, not just for Kirinyaga, but the entire country. I'm mindful that we shouldn't be talking about colonial villages in this era. So we need to clear with them. I commit myself to ensure that this is in the next budget. Among other colonial villages, we need to settle people so that they can use their land more productively. Kirinyaga has other challenges in South Gariama. This is a huge scheme. We have finished our work. There has been several cases that have been a barrier, but those cases basically are now agreed upon, and we should be finishing this scheme without more challenges. The small issues remaining now is about public utilities, how much public utilities we have been able to carve out. I think the county is asking for increased public utilities, but that may not be possible considering that people are already occupied and living in the area. But we are in conversation, and we will be finishing this scheme very soon. Mwea also is the same, a lot of conflict and fights, and but the cases, Mwea has also had cases. I think if we put our attention, we can be able to finish this, and we are already, this is work I have instructed for completion. So possibly I cannot tell you it's a year or two because, again, I need funding, but let's work with the Parliament to ensure that some of these old schemes are completed. I think the ministry has also failed to, what happens is that, Honorable Speaker, allow me to say this, our people are very litigious when it comes to land. I can tell you I have cases that are old as 40 years. And whenever we finish adjudication also or settlement issues, other people, brokers, thieves who want to steal land, bring cases, and they somehow find their way in courts. And they come up with orders. So they become a major hindrance to completion of the work. Then, of course, officers move to another place, Then other cases come along because after you have not finished, other people start eyeing the same. So it's quite complex. It's not a straightforward job like go and do it. But we need, as a country, to refocus in this particular, including adjudication, so that we provide sufficient funding for the department, State Department for Lands and Physical Planning. I don't know whether I've answered, but I desire to be your partner. Then we see how we can finish this.
Thank you, Honorable Sears. Senator Beth Siengo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to ask a supplementary question to the Honorable CS. My question is on if the CS could clarify what happens in a situation where 2 or 3 people or more lay claim on the same parcel of land, on one parcel of land, and rightfully they present even title deeds for the same parcel of land. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kenywa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For me, I'm concerned about funding because she has repeated about funding for a long time, and she's saying that if she doesn't get funding, she wouldn't do so much concerning the issue of titling, Mr. Speaker. Because I know I had raised the issue of titling of minor village, which she is aware. I had mentioned about Likie. For me, now my concern, Mr. Speaker, is that how much money does the ministry need so that at least she would finish her work? And how much has she gotten? And if the amount she has gotten, how many years then are we going to wait? So that we avoid asking the same question, Mr. Speaker, knowing that she has been given amount X and she wanted amount XY, so that we know how long as Kenyans we are going to wait, especially people from the areas she mentioned, especially in Laikipia, Minor Village, Likie, Marmanete Victis. How long are these people going to wait? Mr. Speaker, the most shocking thing is that when the minister or any government officer visit, they promise, and they give us even timelines, Mr. Speaker. So when people are given timelines, and when the minister comes back to Nairobi, there is no money allocated. So people feel like they have been misled, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Miraj.
Asante Bwana Spika. Swali langu kwa waziri ni kuhusiana na Bububu Settlement Scheme plot number 246 ambayo ilipitishwa na tume ya NLC kwamba wapimiwe na wapewe vipande hivyo vya ardhi. Na nimemsikia waziri kwa kauli yake akisema kwamba akona changamoto ya pesa. Ningependa tu atueleze katika gatuzi ya Mombasa pengine anapania kupeana vibali vya umiliki wa ardhi katika maeneo gani, kwa sababu kumekuwa na matatizo ya kwamba hata baada ya malalamishi kusikizwa na tume husika, baadaye kunatokea watu wengine wanapeleka kesi kotini, na wale ambao washapangiwa kupewa vile vipande vya ardhi wanashtakiwa na kunyanyaswa katika koti zetu. Naomba atupatie mwelekeo ni jinsi gani tutaweza kupambana na masuala kama haya pindi yanapoibuka. Asante Bwana Spika.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable CS, I'm still following up with the issue of Katelembo. There are people there who were born there by their parents who are shareholders of the piece of land. And being born there, today they are being called squatters and being chased out. And Honorable Speaker, we are talking of people who are aged 70s, 80 years, 90 years old, living in that piece of land, and today they are being called squatters, and the society wants them out. It's only that by the grace of God I've been defending them, and the late Honorable Kabaka was still defending, and that is why Honorable CS, I would request you to intervene for those piece of land, Katelembo. Otherwise, it's a big issue, and people there are owning title deeds. 2, 3, 4, 5 people owning one piece of land, and each one of them has title deeds. Where do they get these title deeds from? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Abbas.
Honorable Speaker, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I wish to ask the CS whether she's aware that in the far-fetched areas of Wajir and Mandera, there are no land offices. And people require to have title deeds for their, at least especially the commercial areas and municipalities. And they came all the way from Mandera, Wajir to go and come and look for title deeds. What is the plan for the ministry to open land offices in the nearby areas? Maybe in Garissa or Wajir somewhere. Is there any plan?
Honorable CS, you may now proceed to respond.
I think allow me, Speaker, to start with the question of Senator on Garissa, Mandera, Wajir. Where are we? Do we have plans for a registry? I think this is a conversation we can have. The problem is having too many registries and fewer personnel, but also that to do a registry, you require about maybe between 80 and 120,000 for one registry. But we can look and see in between which is the more appropriate in terms of distances and logistics to then agree where we should have a registry. Ordinarily, it's not a very difficult thing, funds being available. We are also partnering with members of parliament to build registries, because short of funding, there is nothing that stops us to establish a registry where distances become a barrier to access to the land rights of people. So I want to assure you that I will take it up and we can have a discussion in my office, maybe with the members of parliament from those regions, so that we agree which are the appropriate places that we can start thinking of a registry. Senator Kenywa is asking me on the question of how much I need, so that next year I don't come here again and say I don't have money, and I know what I should do, save that I'm saying we have no funding. The estimates for colonial villages in Nyeri, Kirinyaga, and Nyandarua, we had done an estimate of 137 million shillings, and that request has been put to Treasury. But I think to clear with all the colonial villages, we need double that, so that, because they are not just in those places, so that we are talking of about maybe 300 million shillings to clear with that. Then I have a question from Senator Miraj. Am I correct? Yes, about Mombasa, the coast, maybe basically the coast, how many titles. Allow me to give you this information of where titles are ready and how many there are. I don't have that because it's a supplementary question, and it's good to have a proper response in terms of data. So I will request that I can forward that information either through the Senate or to you as a member of parliament, a member of the Senate. I have been asked a question on, again, Senator Kavindu is back to the question of Katerembo. To be honest, I don't have any information about this specific society or the land issues or question that you want me to address. What I can gather from you is that they are squatters, but there are also some owners. The cooperative, the land, this is a private land, but they are squatters. And I had said earlier that the question of squatters, Honorable Kavindu, the question of squatters is a very serious problem in this country. And the last time I appeared either here or before National Assembly Committee, I said that we are developing as a country a class of people who I would define as professional squatters. They move from one land to another, and believe me, they have owners. These people are just moving from one land to another once the land appears like it is vacant. Therefore, maybe we can have a meeting with you, Honorable Speaker. I would invite the Honorable Senator to my office so that I can be seized of the challenges she's raising. I think I don't want to add more, but if they are squatters, they would have to negotiate with the owners of the land so that possibly, if they give them, that is, sometimes they are squatters who have worked in that land, but also we don't want to allow people to just come to your land. Tomorrow it's you. The other day it will be somebody else's land. I think people must also learn to respect the land rights of others. However, they could have a reason why they are calling themselves squatters in that land. Let's have a discussion. I don't know whether I have answered all the questions. What happens where two people, what happens where two people, I think that's your question, claim they have some title that appear legit, and then who is the owner? There can only be one legitimate title deed. There can only be one. So one of those titles is a forgery. So it means then you would have to interrogate the document itself, and also interrogate the record. And the record will guide you to the ownership by name. And there are also features that we are able to, when we interrogate the titles, there are features that we know that we look for in a title deed paper, which will lead us closer to who has a forged title. Because some are just printed in the, I don't want to say River Road, because there are also other good things that happen in River Road. Let's say in the streets in Nairobi, Honorable Speaker. So I guess that is, and if you have any like that, you can refer to us so that we can consult the registry where they purport to have been issued from. Then we will be able to help.
Senator Majaya Stewart.
Asante, Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, nataka kumuuliza waziri. Kwanza, waziri, nataka kupatia heko kwa kuweza kuweka kidole hapo jana ili kuweza kuendelea na kazi yako ya waziri katika mambo ya ardhi. Waziri, kama unavyojua Kilifi County, ambapo mimi ni senator wa hilo eneo, ni eneo la pwani na linajulikana sana kwa maskwota katika Kenya mzima. Nafikiria hakuna county ambayo iko na maskwota wengi zaidi ya Kilifi County. Ni hususan nikizingatia kwamba tunaweza kulinganishana hivi sasa, kumekuwa na wingi wa watu ambao wanataka kujenga majumba, watu ambao wamekuja kuweka rasilimali zao na kuweza kuangalia vile wanaweza kujiendeleza kimaisha na biashara. Hiyo imekuwa jambo zuri, lakini tukiangalia zaidi tunaona ya kwamba kumekuwa na hali ngumu ya maskwota. Maskwota wanaendelea kugandamizwa, wanawekwa katika maeneo ya kando ambao sio maeneo yao wanaoishi. Wamekuwa wakiishi huko mara nyingi, na sio Kilifi. Nikisema hivyo, nasema habari ya kama mahali kama Ganze, eneo bunge, mahali kama Magarini, eneo bunge, mahali kama Malindi, eneo bunge, na hata ukija mahali kama Kilifi South kule inaitwa kaskazini ya Kilifi, ni kwamba kusini ya Kilifi, yani Kilifi South, ni kwamba kumekuwa na mwamko mwingi mkubwa sana. Ukiangalia katika eneo kama la Vipingo, Kikambala, Mtwapa, kumekuwa na maskwota wengi sana. Sasa wanasongezwa, wamekuwa wanapelekwa katika ile hali ya kwamba wanaishi kama ambao si binadamu tena. Watu wanajenga majumba, watu wananunua, na wakija pale wanakuja na title wakisema kwamba wako na title. Watu wanafurushwa wakitumia polisi. Polisi wanatumiwa vibaya, ya kwamba watu wanapewa, wanaambiwa hii nendeni mkaondoe watu katika kikao wanachoishi. Ni hatua gani wizara yako ambayo inahusika na utetezi kama huu unaweza kutetea hawa maskwota, ama ni wizara yako ni hatua gani inachukua kuona ya kwamba maskwota wanaoishi kama ni Kaloleni, ni Rabai? Ukiangalia kama Rabai, sasa Rabai eneo bunge lote hivi sasa ni kama ambalo limevamiwa na wale wawekezaji wanaotaka kuja pale kuweka mali zao na kila kitu. Sasa wamechukua ardhi na kuweza kusongeza wenyewe ile ardhi, waliozaliwa pale, na makaburi yako pale, makanisa yako pale, misikiti iko pale, skuli ziko pale. Sasa wanaleta orders, wanakuwa na ile bulldozers, wanaweza kuangusha na kuweza kufurusha hawa. Wizara yako ni muhimu sana. Nauliza wewe, ni hatua gani wizara yako imechukua kuona ya kwamba hatukatai maendeleo yaendelee, lakini pia vile vile wakaaji wa pale, waliozaliwa pale, wanaoishi pale na wana makaburi yao hapo, kuona ya kwamba eneo la makaburi lote linaingizwa tingatinga, kwa sababu mtu anasema hapa niko na title.
Senator, unachukua muda mrefu sana kuuliza swali.
Tafadhali,
Senator. Cabinet Secretary, please respond. Senator Umgeni, you have Senator Umgeni, you have another supplementary question related to this question. Please go ahead.
Yes, Madam Waziri, I wanted to ask a question related to the issue of compensation of land that has been acquired by government for various projects. And there are several residents of the county of Nyamira whose land was compulsorily acquired to construct Chebilat, Ikonge, Chabera Road. And they have been waiting for compensation for quite some long time. Could the ministry tell us what is causing the delay in compensating those residents of the great county of Nyamira? Related to the issues of land, Madam Waziri, is the rollout of this program of digitization and conversion of titles to e-titles. Madam Waziri, this rollout is causing a number of problems to many Kenyans, especially those who are illiterate, those who don't have phones that are able to take emails and the likes, especially the poor Kenyans at our rural areas. Is the government, through you, going to do maybe a system that addresses the vulnerable Kenyans? A number of them have actually been conned, because for you to do that conversion, you have to go to a cyber, get somebody to assist you, log the details into a phone, and you are not able to read. Really, I know we are trying to benchmark on what's happening from other developed countries, but what are we putting in place to protect the vulnerable Kenyans? Some of them even come from where my Honorable Chair, Speaker, comes from, who are not able to read. They don't have these phones that can log into the email and the likes. And finally, the corruption within the ministry, especially Land Control Board. Most Kenyans doing transactions for sale of land are forced to pay up to 20,000 shillings, some 30,000, before the Land Control Board can issue them with consent to either charge or to transfer, without issuance of any official receipts. Madam Waziri, do you think this Land Control Board is serving us well? And what measures can you put in place to curb the corruption within the Land Control Board committees? Thank you.
Cabinet Secretary.
Allow me, Honorable Speaker, to start with the last question of Senator Omugeni. I had responded to the digitization question, but I think your new question is how then are we preparing Kenyans, especially the vulnerable Kenyans, how to deal with how to interact with the information management system, because even maybe the equipments, the phones, the gadgets required, they don't have. every change has its own challenges. And we have already agreed, and it's a government program that we are digitizing, and we are looking at the larger evil that we are trying to curb: theft of land, security for land tenure, and securing land rights, dealing with the loss of titles and theft of land. I think if you take that against Kenyans who are not literate, then you will find that it's, you know, the bigger problem will be addressed by digitizing. And then we can have a conversation how then we will help. Is it through the ministry that we shall have maybe a section or a department to help the vulnerable that need? And even today, if anybody goes to any registry, they will get help, irrespective of whether you are supposed to interact with them. They will still get help. And I think maybe that's what we should intensify. And administratively, my ministry will look into that. And you have raised an important issue. It is important because the reason we are digitizing is to make easy access, to enable easy access and effective access to land, land records. Corruption in land boards or by land boards or members of the land boards, maybe you would have helped me better if you possibly gave me the specific land board. The minister has authority to degazette a board if we feel corruption is a barrier, is a challenge. So give me specific land board and I will degazette it tomorrow. But I will send a message, and I have kept sending messages. We have, if people also give money, I don't know why people have extra money to give for corrupt purposes. I think that you do not need to give any money.
Cabinet Secretary, would you like to be informed by Senator Mogeni?
Okay. How can I diffuse?
Madam Waziri, this is extremely common in Ngong.
Ngong.
In fact, if you want to know the truth, you can send your undercover agents tomorrow, and you will see no receipts, no official receipt is issued. Okay, those who are able to pay are issued with the consent faster than those who are not willing to give the bribes. It's happening, and I'm sure I'll not be wrong to say that this is duplicated in many land control boards across the country. But the most notorious is in Ngong. You can speak to the Law Society and they will tell you.
Administratively, I will withdraw the right to hold special board for that particular land control area, special, so that we have annual, the normal regular land board meetings or approval meetings, and then I'll pick it up because now you have given me the necessary information. Thank you very much for that information. I'll see, but I will also send a circular to all the land boards. But we have a program coming up where we want to create awareness and retrain our land board members. You know, normally they get a small allowance, but they must know when they accept that it is not for payment, they cannot be soliciting for money, and they let them hear me on the floor of this plenary that anybody caught soliciting money as a member of the land board, the entire board will have to go. Thank you very much. I think the last one, let me come to Kilifi South. Mheshimiwa Senator Madzao of Kilifi County, I identify with the challenges you are raising because I have just said, maybe before you stepped in, that we have professional squatters, but I know we have genuine squatters, but we also have people who, after land has been sold, then they get onto that land, become squatters even when they were not squatters. And those squatters, I had said, they are owned by people, moved from one place to another. The squatters cannot have a right without any reason. We would have to interrogate generally, as a ministry in your county, Musambaha, Takaungu, we have 2 schemes. Makaburi, you raised about, we have Musabaha and Takaungu. Those are schemes that are purely meant to give land to squatters. So to address the squatter problem, the program that comes very handy is the land settlement program, where we buy land for squatters. That program requires funding as well. So I think if you ask me as a ministry, what are you doing, is that whenever we have money, we buy land, but we also need to be specific and strict about squatter problem in the entire coast region. Because you know, you said that there are squatters who are being evicted. There are court orders. It's for somebody to get a court order, they have secured some, they have been able to persuade the court that the owners of the land. So these are very complex issues. And I think some of the people who sell that same land are those people who you are calling squatters. So I would want us to be very specific. We deal with one after the other so that whenever we have funding, we can address specific squatter problem. And being very selective and very careful, because we cannot, we cannot afford to buy land for everybody. Genuine squatters, and even settlement schemes in Mombasa, we are having a challenge the entire Mombasa. The minute you settle people, you give documentation, the following day they are looking for buyers of the land, then they move to another area to squat there for the same purpose. So I think also as leaders, let us give awareness so that, and we had even a provision, it's still there in the law, that you cannot transfer land given by way of settlement, But, they have, some very clever people have also gone to court, and they have an order that once we give land through settlement, as a government, as a ministry, then you cannot restrict the right to use, the right to transfer. It's a constitutional right. So we now are forced to allow, if you want to transfer tomorrow after we have given you, we may not be, we may delay, but eventually we don't have a right to stop you. So let us also send right messages to these people, and then we can reduce the numbers. And I think that's the best I can do. I think the Senate, the question is, I don't know whether there is any other part of your question. I think Omugeni was talking about acquisition. I think your question was generally about the compensation, yes. I wanted to exhaust Senator Madizao's, if he's satisfied, I can move on to the second part of Omugeni's question.
Senator Matsayo, you have a point of order?
Ndio, Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, pia ningependelea kuona ya kwamba ile Land Control Board ya Kilifi sasa imejitumbukiza kwenye hiyo hali unayosema ya ufisadi. Na iwe karatasi ziwe zinatolewa na zinaenda kwa mashinani, na ndio sababu hao maskwota wanaweza kufurushwa. Polisi pia wanatumiwa vibaya kuweza kufurusha watu katika maeneo yao. Kwa hiyo kama ni uchunguzi ufanywe, basi pia unafanywa kama vile ulivyo direct ufanywe eneo la Ngong, basi hivyo nataka uchunguzi ufanywe katika Land Control Board ya Kilifi.
I think maybe you could come to my office, we have a discussion so that I understand the challenge of Kilifi Board, and then we see how long has it been in place, and who do you have specific persons, so that we don't punish the entire board for the sins of one individual. So I think that we can have a discussion one-on-one in my office next week. You can, my number is basically public. but also my office will be able to give you.
Senator Mazayo, we have to proceed to the next question.
Yes.
We've spent too much time on this, so please,
I'm saying I'm available for his many
yes,
questions.
accept the invitation
Kindly.
by the minister to discuss the issues in Kilifi, so that you can allow the House to proceed to the next question.
Yeah, because some
Thank
of them
you.
are sub-
Honorable senators, will proceed to the next
On
question.
acquisition, I had already, I think we had exhausted, and this floor, the speaker gave us a ruling regarding compulsory acquisition, because I had already said earlier, I don't want to open the issue, but I had already said it's a mandate of on NLC, but the speaker made a ruling that we need some particular information. So I will be responding to the Senate on this in detail with the necessary information.
Thank you, CS.
Then there was the compensation is the one I said. It's a question that we had exhausted.
I think, Cabinet Secretary,
I move to the next question.
we'll take the next question
Yes.
from Senator.
Thank you.
Question number 82 by Senator Mofire.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I would want to know from the Cabinet Secretary, there are quite a number of issues that are affecting Tharaka Nithi County along the boundary between Tharaka and Meru County, Honorable Speaker. And this is why, Honorable Speaker, I want to know from the Cabinet Secretary whether she can provide a status update on the adjudication of the areas along the border of Tharaka, Nithi, and Meru counties, particularly Toroni, Viiti, Nkondi, Tulema locations in Tharaka Nithi County, which have been subject of long-standing land ownership tussles. B, Honorable Speaker, when will the ministry issue titles to land owners in these regions, Honorable Speaker? C, Honorable Speaker, the minister should also give us the steps the government is taking to demarcate the boundary between the two counties, and which is likely to quell the tensions between communities on either side. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Cabinet Secretary.
Honorable Speaker, I have provided a response to the question by Senator Mwenda Gataya Mofire on the status of land adjudication in his area, Tharaka Nithi, and the challenges between Tharaka Nithi boundary and the Meru boundary. And the first question is a status update on the adjudication of areas along the border of Tharaka Nithi and Meru counties, particularly Ntoroni, Thiti, Nkongi, Tulema or Tulimi, Tulema, Torema. I think the E is not there. You know, some of my staff may not have grammatical meaning for some of these words. Locations in Tharaka Nithi, which have been subject of long-standing land ownership dispute. I have a response there. The stalemate on land adjudication along Meru and Tharaka County boundary has not been unlocked yet, as there has been no consensus between the disputing communities. This boundary has been contested over the years since 1992. The solution of the same will pave way for ascertainment of land rights as adjudication officers for the respective adjudication areas will have clear jurisdiction on the extent of their areas of operation. And this is because definition of adjudication sections follow established administrative boundaries. And this is the response, therefore, that the Honorable Senator should take, that for us to do adjudication sections, we follow established administrative boundaries, which then has been disputed. And therefore, we stopped the work This scenario, as indicated, in response to a stalemate submitted by the ministry to the Senate Standing Committee on National Cohesion, we did respond to this same question. Committee on Cohesion, Equal Opportunities and Regional Integration, and I have attached the response, and I cannot now provide a different response. And I think what we are saying in this particular question, Honorable Senator, you know the challenge is not even the boundary. The challenge is the people, and allow me to use this floor speaker to address the people of Tharaka along this boundary and the people of Meru. What they are asking me to do is to do gerrymandering along the administrative boundaries or the county boundaries. There are people who are Tharaka. They are living in Meru or in an area said to be within the boundary, it is Meru. And they are saying, you cannot give me, my land cannot read Meru because I am a Tharaka. When you go to the Meru people, then they have land in Tharaka. And this is very unusual because today I can buy land in Nairobi or Kiambu or Baringo. I cannot demand the boundary to be changed to suit my ethnic community or background. So the elected leaders must help to tell people, if you are living in Meru, allow us to demarcate and title your land as that land is in Meru, because you and the land are two different entities. One is a person, the other one is land. Honorable Speaker, this is a very peculiar position we have here, because people living within Meru County and they are Tharaka, they are saying, no, my title cannot read Meru because I am a Tharaka. People in Tharaka and they are Meru, they are saying the same. This is a very simple problem. Maybe we should just come there. The last time I was in Meru to give, in Tharaka to give titles, then, and Meru, during JK members and other leaders there said I should not touch the question of administrative boundary. The response to the question of administrative boundary, you know, to deal with that, Parliament has to give a resolution if we shall alter. But this particular case, and I'm speaking also to the governors of the two counties, this particular case will not be resolved by altering the boundary. And altering the boundary, you need a commission, either IBC to be appointed by Parliament to do this specific work, but we shall not have resolved the problem. I have adjudication sections, but we cannot do them because my officers were chased by your people, Honorable Senator. And that is the answer. And we shall remain like that until they accept that if your land bill is in Meru and you are Tharaka, where utaka Tharaka, you will stay in Tharaka. But you can sell the land if you don't want to be in Tharaka, if you are from Meru. You can sell the land and buy your land in Meru. I think these are the messages you should help me, Honorable Senator. We can do a baraza if you call, talk to the Jorizeke people, ask your counterparts in Meru to talk to each other, and we resolve this. I will need less than 2 years to give you titles that are remaining for the sections because we have already declared the sections. Honorable Speaker, that question, we have declared the sections, and what they are asking me, they know will not resolve the question of titling. It will not, redrawing the boundary will not happen around that area, not easy. Because the way they are saying that it should be drawn is really not practical. Because I cannot now remove your land and put it in Meru, so because you are a Tharaka and your land is in Meru, and that's where you are living. So, Honorable Speaker, I hope Honorable Senator, and he knows this problem, he should be my supporter so that we finish. We accept the boundaries. My appeal, using this floor, is we accept the boundary as it is. If you find your land is in Meru and you are from Tharaka, sell it and buy the land, sell it to Meru or to whoever is interested, and then go now and relocate to. And of course, there is a challenge. The best resolution is agree to live with each other. If you are a Meru and your land is in Tharaka, these are physical boundaries. Why are they becoming a challenge? I don't understand, because Kenyans can live anywhere, irrespective of your ethnic boundary. This is not a problem that can be resolved by redrawing that boundary, because there will be other people inside, very inside, away from the boundary. There will be a Tharaka person living within Meru. Will I go for him by changing the boundary? I think these are things that are painful for us. We have already declared the adjudication sections, and we are ready to finish once this. And this problem is more political than legal. This problem, Honorable Speaker, I have no doubt, I have analyzed it, it's more political than legal, and sometimes people use it to do politics. And I'm not saying Honorable Senator is one of those who use it, but he knows that it's quite political, it's quite emotive. People kill each other over that subject. And therefore the ministry has reached a point where it will ask the leaders to go back and speak to their people. The second question is titling. Adjudication sections take approximately 2 years. I think you wanted to know how long. 2 years to complete when all other factors are favorable. The ministry will hasten the process of adjudication in the stated areas as soon as the boundary issue is settled. So we have left that matter until we resolve those questions being raised. Despite the challenges over the county boundary, the ministry has previously completed adjudication of various sections as indicated in Table A. I have a table, Honorable Senator, there that has given a list of 10 adjudication areas with a total of 7,780 parcels. And then in B, adjudication sections finalized. These are the Table A is registered adjudication sections, and then Table B, sections finalized under the National Titling Program, where we don't charge. And I know most of your region, we were working with that program, where we produce titles at the National Titling Center, which is funded separately. And then you can see those are another 11 sections for B. And then ongoing adjudication sections, Siakariga, where we have 500 objections. We have commenced work, and then we receive 500 objections. We cannot proceed with that particular matter until the objections are resolved. Then there is also a case petition, number 5. Talk with these people, they remove the case from court. Honorable Senator, call me. We can talk with them together, with you. Okay, so that is the Siakariga problem. And then stored adjudication sections due to boundary dispute are 3. All the others are going on, but if you look at D, Table D, Turima, Karocho, Mukodhima, there you can't step in there. Your people chased my officers, and they were told to leave. So we need to have a very serious, open, candid discussion on how to deal with the dispute so that we can complete the 7,942 parcels for those 3 adjudication sections along the disputed boundary. And then in response to 3, Roman 3, I wish to respond to the Honorable Senator as follows. The boundaries of Kenya's counties were established by the 2010 Constitution of Kenya. The 2010 Constitution, which replaced the previous provincial system. The boundary between Meru and Tharaka Nithi is described in the District and Provisions Act of 1992. However, this boundary is contested. The Constitution in Article 188(1), Honorable Speaker, provides the following in relation to variation of county boundaries. Although I have said I would not recommend going for variation or change of the boundary because that will not resolve the dispute, the process of how you alter boundaries is provided for in Article 188, where Parliament is mandated by way of a resolution from Parliament, National Assembly, to form a commission to carry out that exercise. And obviously, because we have an IBC, although now not fully constituted, because this would require the full commission to work, then they would be able to request, instead of getting another commission, request the services of IBC. But I'm saying maybe before then, this is something humanly possible that the leadership of the two counties, at governor level, at senator level, at members of the constituencies around that boundary can sit. But do I say, I don't think there is any discussion going on between the two governors, for example. When you step there, you are told, don't touch. And a minister is told, no, Dio Maneno, we have not finished with this boundary issue and we don't want titering to go on. That is their position.
You have more fire.
Honorable Speaker.
Use the mic next to you, more fire.
Honorable Speaker, I am private to all the information of Madam Chair that you have given, that this dispute between the two counties is perennial. It has quite affected quite a number of people. But Madam Chair, you are aware, and I'm aware, that there is a commission which is whose report is in your ministry, the Wahome Commission, which was instituted I think some 10 years ago. Wahome Commission, Madam says, gave solutions to all the problems that we have highlighted in your report, which was supposed to give guidance on how to solve the problem between Meru County and Tharaka Nithi County. That report, Madam CS, has never seen the light of the day. It has never been implemented. I don't know for what reasons, Madam CS. And that report, Madam CS, can be a very, very serious, strong guide to guide you as a minister, to your officials, to address those problems you have just highlighted in your report, Madam CS. Because, Madam CS, I have also captioned in your report D, where you have stated you have stalled education schemes due to boundary dispute between Meru and Tharaka Nithi counties. This is the education section, which is Turima, Karocho, and Mukodima. Madam says this commission fully addresses the way forward on those three education sections. So, Madam says, I don't know whether you would be private to that report. You give this House why this Ogongo Commission has never been made public and why it has never been implemented close to 15 years down the line. Two, Madam CS, I have captioned you say that my people chased your people. You know, Madam CS, this is a house of record. This is a house of evidence. Would it be prudent for you, Madam CS, maybe to provide evidence where my people, when you say my people, you are saying people from Tharaka Nithi County where they chased your branch education officers. When? Did they make any report to any police? Do you have any report to that effect? Do you have any OB number? Because, you know, Honorable Speaker, when you say my people chase your people, that borders on criminality. So do you have any report that can be tabled before this House that people from Tharaka Nithi and Tharaka in particular chased land education officers from your ministry? So, Honorable Speaker, I think I would want to know two, their own commission, when we need to be made public, because it can give solution to all these problems that Madam CS are just highlighting this before this house too.
Very well, Senator
Thank you.
Mofao, the question has been heard. Senator Cherargei, you have a supplementary question?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So mine will be a question, follow up on supplementary. Mr. Speaker, I've heard the CS saying squatters or squatters. We also have similar problem in Nandi. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the following question, that what is the status of the titling of Kimondi Forest squatters or squatters, Mwein Kechire in Chesumei, Okiek at Kebeni Nandils, Talai in Kapsisiwa, removal from detention, Libon of 1934, the titling of squatters in Tindred around Kimwani, Chepsangwer, and Chemas, Mr. Speaker, and also the state of titling of Koibem exchange program in Chepkumia ward. Could the CS provide the status of titling of these areas I've mentioned? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well, Cabinet Secretary.
Let me start with Honorable Senator Cherargei. Maybe the definition of a supplementary should be a question arising from the same question. Although it is a squatter issue, it's a different region, it's a different place. I would want to request the Honorable Senator to allow this response to be provided later, because you can see he has mentioned about maybe 5 programs there. I can have this filed to the Senate for him to read, and there, if it is not sufficient, he can contact me, or if there is action needed, we can look at it. I have my Director of Settlement here with me, and he will start work on it immediately. There is a report, Honorable Senator, from Tharaka that he has referred to. Yes, the report was filed, it's completed. Tharaka Nithi, yes, Senator Tharaka Nithi. Sorry, did I call you Tharaka? Oh, Tharaka Nithi. Senator for Tharaka Nithi.
Senator Cherargei, the CS's phone number is public information.
It's private. I had said it's public, but
yes.
If he wants my number, he can talk to me when I am leaving. I'm surprised he doesn't have. I have his number, so I'll call him. Yeah, I will call him. Zachary Ogongo report, Honorable Senator for Tharaka Nithi. I beg your pardon. The report we have, and it recommended implementation, but it is not possible to implement this report because it requires cooperation and working with Tharaka Nithi people and Meru people along the boundaries. So what I was saying is that we need goodwill, and people must first be disabused in terms of their mind, so that they know we cannot move the boundaries to come for you where you are. And I know the report is there. The recommendation for activities will still require people to stop being hostile. And I did not mean the Tharaka Nithi people alone. I mean the people along the boundary, the disputed boundary, because it is known where it is, and it is from both communities there. And they know, and they told me personally, the last time I came to give titles, they said that is a no-go zone for the time being. I personally was confronted with that hostility, and it's okay, I understand, because there are disputes, there are issues that are pending which need to be resolved. That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying we cannot sweep under the carpet. We need to call them by names in terms of the challenge. But we can go through that report with you if you are really willing to go along with this to the end. But we need the cooperation by both governors. We need conversation and discussion where two governors can also come to table. And because we can come there with the county commissioner and with my security teams. But when I leave and they leave, we don't want to leave people fighting. We need first to create a peaceful environment and acceptance of the challenge and how we will deal with it. This must be adopted by the same teams. So we can go through some of these reports with you, and you can also give me a hint of what you think, because I'm sure as a senator, you know, you may have some good ideas on how we can resolve those challenges. And that's what I'm calling upon, not just you, because you may even have goodwill, but your colleagues may not have similar goodwill. Honorable Speaker, I think I have responded to the supplementary questions.
Very well. We'll take two
because
more.
I still have more questions.
Yes, you still have, there's still, and there's some interest by some senators on the same question. So very quickly, we'll take one question from